And welcome back to The Fight. I'm Pete Byrne. Joining us now is Charlie Rutherford. He's a 2018 Notre Dame alum from the Seattle area and a pre-med emergency room technician in one of the earliest coronavirus hotspots in the United States. Charlie, welcome to The Fight today.
Thanks, Pete. I'm really excited to be here.
We're certainly excited to have you. I understand you started working in the emergency room at the beginning of this year, and then Washington State just weeks afterwards becomes probably the earliest coronavirus hotspot in this country. So you really had to hit the ground running. I'm curious if you would share that experience with us.
Yeah, so it was actually really interesting. Coronavirus really hit us like late February, early March, and I started working in the ER in late December. I was actually, in my opinion, really fortunate because the winter tends to be a really busy time in the emergency room. So I got exposed to a lot of stuff really quickly in a lot of my shifts. And the people I work with are amazing, like the best team I could work with. So every time I had a problem, they would just, step up and help me out. Any question I had, they would be happy to answer. So by the time March came around, I was fully up and running, luckily. And then March 10th, we had a choir meeting in our community where 45 of the 60 people who attended got coronavirus, and it was mostly an older population. So I was very, very lucky that by that time I was up and running and ready to work.
So what are some of the adaptations that you've had to make in your ER to deal with the onslaught of patients you have?
Yeah, what was really interesting is because Washington was hit faster and earlier than most of the other places in the United States, we didn't really know what we needed to do. So every shift we were changing, but it all ended up, we were working to conserve PPE and reduce the amount of people exposed. So I would change out of my scrubs in the driveway before I got home to prevent getting my family and the people I live with sick. We would avoid going in and out of rooms frequently, and we split the ER in half. Kind of like a COVID side over on one side and then like the non-COVID side on the other side. The biggest change we had was the way we run what's called a coding patient, like a patient who's deteriorating really rapidly. Previously, we'd have 10 or 15 people in those rooms, but now we run that as a skeleton crew, just maybe 5 or 10 people. And it means that everyone in that room really needs to know what they're doing and be really on their game.
Charlie, how would you say your Notre Dame experience has informed the way you're working now in the medical environment?
I think I was an RA in St. Edward's Hall, and being an RA, you really need to learn how to communicate and adapt. And those lessons are just, incredibly crucial right now. I learned so much being an RA about that, and I'm just so happy that I learned it at the time. I also took quite a few classes with Dr. Vachon in the pre-med department about compassionate care and medicine, and it's really helped me focus on helping the whole person.
And I know that the people are scared right now, and they're scared to get sick. What's something that you think people need to understand about going to the emergency room right now?
I think the most crucial thing is the ER is still open and really willing and ready to help people who need medical care. So if you're sick, go into the emergency room if you need it. Avoiding and delaying medical care has been a huge problem during all of this, especially in the places that are harder hit, where people they're waiting to go get care for like a heart attack that really they can't afford to wait for. So the ERs are all split up, so you stay separate from COVID and patients. And if you're feeling really sick, go in and get that help that you need.
All right. Well, Charlie, I want to thank you for joining us today on The Fight, and we certainly wish you the best of luck out there in Washington and working on the front lines. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and go Irish.
Go Irish.